Hello.
Hey.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome
Good
to Rising Empires. We have something very special for you to start the day with. We have the finals in AoM. So, maybe you want to say who's playing against
Yes,
each other?
we've got our Danish Hussupper versus our Greek the Rappel, who are two of the top players in the Age of Mythology scene.
Definitely. It's going to be close games, I think. They're very evenly matched in skill level. It's going to be a best of 5.
Yes, best of 5 today.
We have one map picked at the start, then loser picks the map. And I think they cannot repeat their gods they won with.
That's correct. So our first map for today is the Silk Road. And if anyone knows that map, it's the one with the 3 trading posts in the middle of the map. And if you claim a trading post, you get a small trickle of resources.
Yes, I'm sure we have a lot of AoE4 viewers here. So these trading posts are similar to sacred sites. Maybe you know them from AoE4. So you gotta capture them. You can capture them as of the start of the game. And yeah, then you get a bit of food. So I think it's gonna be a very aggressive game. It's gonna be all about these trade posts at the start of the game. And then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so I think we're expecting a very offensive Civ picks for these two guys. It's not a boomy game. You're not going to sit here and sit in your base and turtle. You're going to go out there, be aggressive, grab these trading posts.
Definitely, definitely. Do we know the gods yet?
I don't know the gods.
I don't know the gods either. Let's see.
So what are Soup and Rappel's main gods, would you say, that they're comfortable
Soup
with?
definitely Norse.
Yes.
Soup from Denmark, he likes his Norse. I think Rappel used to like Greek. He doesn't like him as much anymore, I believe. I think he also leans more towards Norse. I think he's very strong with Odin, who's one of the weaker gods now, but I think Rappel is overall very good with all the gods.
Yes.
Not sure if he has a preferred one.
What have we seen him pick this tournament so far?
I'm not sure. I was playing. So against me, what did he play against me? He played Freya against me. So
Freya.
Norse.
Yep.
One of the strong Norse gods. Very well with this one.
Yeah, and I think we might even see some Chinese games as well, some Chinese picks.
I'm excited for that, to see some Chinese. They've been out for what now, 3 weeks?
Yep, correct.
Runabout. Certainly, every time I watched here over their shoulders, I learned something new every minute, watching these Chinese units, heroes, everything's new, how they get a favor, but I think we'll explain that in the game once we'll see if one of them plays Chinese.
Yeah. So you started learning Chinese this weekend, right? For the tournament?
Yes.
At the tournament?
Yeah, so my first Chinese game was on Friday, and then yesterday I played 2 more. And it was, great improvement every single game.
Yeah.
It's good fun. It's definitely great that there's been this new Pantheon added after, I don't know how many years, 20 years? It's very cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so our players are setting up right now. So for our AO4 viewers, AOM is slightly different. It's still the same concept. You build villagers, you get the resources, then you go to H2, you build an army. But the trick is the mythology, right? So you not only have this normal counter system where you have like infantry, cavalry, archer triangle, but you also have heroes and myth units. And so the counter system is you have normal units, counter heroes, heroes counter myth units counter normal units. And if you don't build heroes, the myth units will absolutely destroy your army. So you definitely need to have a good balance on heroes. And the other important thing to remember is that there's favor. It's a 4th resource, so there's no stone. There's favor instead. And favor is sort of limited in how much you can get. You cannot just put all villagers on favor. So there's a cap. And you can spend favor on upgrades. You can spend favor on myth units. And now in retail also you can spend favor on recasting god powers. So you really need to make a decision where you want to spend your favor on. I think that's going to be very important, these games.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think especially for the new Chinese Civ, there's a fine balance because one of the new economic units, the Kuafu, that enormous villager, he costs favor as well.
Yeah, he costs quite a lot of favor.
Yeah, there's a lot of decision making behind the Chinese Civ there as well with the favor.
All right. What else is different? So the armor system works slightly different than in AoM. It's than in AoE4. It's a percentage-based armor system. So there's no these, like for example, archers against knights hardly deal any damage because of the high armor. In AoM, it's all percentage-based. So you won't see units take no damage from something because they have high armor. So it's all percentage-based. The upgrades are percentage-based. and it looks like we're in the game. So what gods do we see?
You were correct about the Norse.
The Norse, definitely an aggressive civilization. So Soup,
Loki.
Soup is Loki, and Rappel is Odin. Yeah, I was right. Odin. It's one of his favorite picks. So two very aggressive gods. We're gonna see they're immediately going for these trade posts in the middle.
Yeah, so we see Rappel has taken the trading post on the left and the center, and Soup has just claimed the one on the right. But they're having a bit of a dance with their berserks here. Plus, the berserks need to build as well, so they need to build the temple at least. They don't necessarily have to build the houses because the villagers can build houses now in the retold version of this game.
Yeah, so that's a speciality of the Norse. They don't build with villages. They need to build everything except for the house with their infantry units. That's a very nice concept. How do the Norse get a favor? They get a favor by fighting. So you get a little bit of favor from killing animals because you deal damage to the animals while hunting them. But the majority of the favor is going to really come from fighting each other. Since they're both Norse, they're going to have similar amounts of favor. And then let's see who utilizes that better.
So we see Rappel has sent his Soup has sent his berserk, I think, around the other way. Maybe he's doing a bit of scouting. Yep, it looks like he's going for a scout here instead of trying to claim the trading post. He might have given up on that for now. He wants to get some intel on Rappel's base here instead.
Yeah, so we see it's 2 versus 1 trading post. A trading post is about half a villager on food. And this was the first god power cast there. So it's the Loki god power, and H1 is a spy. So you can put a spy on any unit, and until that unit dies, Rappel will have vision of the unit. So he knows exactly what's going on in Soup's base. And can adapt according to that.
Yeah, and for our Odin player, his first god power is the Great Hunt. So if he targets that on a bunch of hunt, it'll multiply the hunt. Or if he targets it just on the ground, he'll spawn some animals to hunt.
And there we see Soup is trying to build a temple on the trade post. The one bonus that Odin also has is that his units regenerate. So if it's Berserker against Berserker, Odin's gonna have a huge benefit or a huge bonus against the other player because his Berserker regens, so he's gonna win that fight.
But I think that's why Soup's choosing not to fight. He's just gonna get his temple up and then probably run. So we can see a bit of an engagement here, and we can see the little health bar of the blue player ticking up.
Yep. So Soup cannot stay there forever. Looks like Rappel built the temple at home. And then we see ravens coming out. So that's another bonus of Odin. These ravens, they're scouts. They spawn from your temple. And it's going to allow him to get a bit of vision of his opponent, just like Soup got vision with his god power on H1.
So did Rappel make a second berserk here? Yes, he has. So Rappel has got a second berserk in his home base here as well, which he could now send forward to help fight.
Yeah, so Rappel, despite building a second berserk, is up in the second H slightly faster. And I think it's gonna be non-stop fighting from here on.
Yep.
Especially with the temple in the middle.
Well, yeah, so the temple is holding the trading post for now, but Rappel is going to try and take care of this temple, knock it down, and reclaim this trading post.
Here we see a Valkyrie. It's one of the mid units of Norse. And we also see a red Hersia running around. That's a hero for the Norse. So that's the glowing guy with a big hammer on top of the screen. And Rappel is basically trying to find some economic damage with this raiding unit now.
Alright, Soup just advanced through Forseti. Forseti will give him the troll unit here, and it will also give him the healing spring, which grants a healing area of effect wherever it's cast.
Yeah, so speaking about healing, the Valkyrie can also heal units, but generally you wanna apply pressure on the opponent. It's a very fast unit. It's a raiding unit. And then you can pull back and heal your army if there's some downtime during the game. But for now, he's just trying to run around, be a bit annoying, throw Soup off.
Alright, this temple is nearly gone here.
So we see a forest fire. That's a god power that comes along with Freya, who spawns the Valkyrie. Essentially, it burns down a forest, and the villagers need to run away, else they will die in the burning trees.
Yeah, I will say Rappel has got a lot of value with his forest fire and his Valkyrie here. I see a lot of low hit point dwarves and villagers here.
Yeah, so he's gonna have an easy time maybe finding a kill or two with the Valkyrie. Still running around with it. In the meanwhile, the temple was killed, but Soup has enough infantry units to sort of hold position in the middle now.
Oh, a villager.
Oh no.
Very nice pick off from Rappel there.
So Rappel's already leading by 2 villagers. We can see on the top of your screen. So it's 21 villagers against 19 villagers. And he also has more army.
Yeah, I'm wondering how he got that extra villager out, because he made the early berserk as well, so...
Yeah, so you need to, in order to build a berserk, you just need to idle your TC for a little bit, because you need to build the berserk instead of the villager. So we see some fighting going on here.
Yeah, I think that fight went in Rappel's favor. I think he could possibly turn around here, perhaps. Or
It
maybe
looks like he
not.
has a lot more army. Maybe he's scared of the throwing X-Men,
Yeah,
which are the
yeah.
counter infantry units, and Rappel has mostly infantry, so maybe he doesn't really want to go in there.
Yeah, very true.
And now, if we fight a little bit more, there will be also something interesting appearing at some point. So Loki, the more he fights, the more secret favor he's gathering. And if he has gathered enough of that, he'll spawn a myth unit for free. That's another bonus of Loki. And these myth units that spawn for free, they can really swing a battle.
Absolutely. Very RNG. You could be in the middle of sieging down a castle and suddenly you get a rock giant or a mountain giant spawn who will really help you smash through that castle.
Yeah. So now, Soup is going aggressive again, building his longhouse in the middle of the map. The longhouse is essentially a stable. You can build your cavalry units and heroes from it. He has a lot of throwing X-Men. He wants to add some cavalry to get that mobility on the map.
Alright, and he's going for a raid here because he used that spy earlier. He knows that Rappel is gathering berries at this position, so he sees there's a lot of juicy villages there.
And he's now also got all 3 trade posts. So, despite being down a villager, he's actually ahead in economy because each of these trade posts in H2, so in H1 it was half a villager, now it's 1.5 each. So he's leading by, so it's 4.5 villages from the trade post, so he's leading 3.5 villages at the moment.
Yep, that's big in the early game.
And it's also food, right? So he can last without building farms for a longer time.
Yeah, yep, very nice. So he's placed his healing spring here, which gives him that healing area of effect. The only thing is, that healing spring can be captured by Rappel. Just like the trading posts, whoever controls the area controls that healing spring.
So yet another objective on the map to be captured.
Yes.
We see some scouting with the Raven going on. Rappel knows exactly how big the army of Soup is now.
Looks like he's going for another raid, but Soup is also going around the cliffs on this side for another raid, I think.
Yeah, so even though there is TC play, so you can build TCs in H2 as well, I don't think either of them will go for a second TC soon, because in Norse, against Norse, it's very easy to get overwhelmed, so they're both just messing up army, trying to get some villager kills.
Yeah, absolutely. And get some villager kills they will. If Soup sees those 3 villagers that Rappel's trying to sneak away, he does. That's 3 villagers gone, I think, unless these counter units can stop it. 1, 2, 3.
Now the army arrives, yeah.
Yeah, but on the other side, 1, 2,
And will he get that?
2, I think.
He runs away with the army, uses the mobility of the raiding cavalry. It's a very fast unit. So far the game is very even.
Yeah.
Playing it really well, both of them.
And this map, there is so much to think about, isn't there, with the trading post? Like the raiding, the trading post, the healing spring. Like, you've got to focus your attention on so many points.
Exactly, and despite, I think both of them, it's a very unique way, or the map is a very unique map in the way that these trading posts, they only exist on this map.
Yes.
So it's a normal game with a twist.
Yeah, exactly. This is not a map that's in the ranked pool of maps or anything like that, so these players are probably not that familiar either with this map, so there's a bit of a learning curve here as well. What strategy do you play?
I think they're doing a great job though.
Definitely. I'm surprised that our Odin player hasn't used his Great Hunt, but maybe he's saving it for a more defensive...
Maybe. It does get better as you age up.
True.
So the later age you cast the Great Hunt, it multiplies more food. So basically, I think in H1 it was something like 700 food if you cast it. Maybe in H2 1,000 food. I don't have the numbers for H3, but the later you cast, the more food you get it. And it looks like there's still plenty of food around.
Yeah, it's huge hunt packs. Okay. What have we got going here? It was an attempt on a raid, but the raiding cav will chase those raiding cav and Valkyrie down to prevent that.
So gold is not a very important resource for the Norse. They have a special villager, the dwarf. So they not only have normal villagers, they also have dwarves who get a gold faster, but also cost gold. So you really want to have a lot of gold as Norse.
Sure.
Now we're fighting at the healing spring, so it's an advantage definitely for Soup.
Yes, to fight under this position. But looks like Rappel is going to choose to fight here as well. He gets the surround there with the cav on the healing spring area.
So there we saw a troll spawn. Now we got the free myth unit. Let's see if Soup has some heroes close. Rappel has some heroes close.
This is a very close fight.
So now the micro is all about destroying X-Men onto the heroes. That's what you want to do. You want to snipe these heroes so that the myth units can clean up the rest.
Yep.
That
was
well
played
played by Rappel. Yes.
Very nice micro there in that fight.
So he really overwhelmed his opponent. And that's how Norse wars usually go. You build army, you raid, and then there's one deciding fight.
Yep, one engagement, right?
Yes.
Okay, what have we got here? The military resource value? Yeah, so Rappel went into that fight with a much bigger resource value there. Civilian units were pretty even, I think. That obviously doesn't take into account the trading posts, but they were swapping back and forth so frequently that...
See how all resources are collected looks like?
Yeah,
very even. So Soup did a good job holding or keeping up with Odin. So Odin gathers Hunt slightly faster than all the other gods. I think it's 10%. But Soup made up for that with holding these trading posts and getting food that way.
Oh, idle villager graph. These guys are pretty good. They're pretty on top of it.
Yeah, and I think all of that idle is only forced idle time.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not skipping a beat. Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Now, so the loser of that map was Hussupper, so he'll be choosing this map, this upcoming map. So we'll see what that map will be shortly. And then they'll pick their gods based on that map. And again, they can't pick a god that they've won with, so Rappel can no longer pick the Odin.
Yes. I think he'll be happy with that. Odin is thought of to be one of the weaker gods right now, so there's still plenty of good gods for him to pick from. I have no idea what he'll pick. I think we have to wait for the map.
Yeah, definitely.
Also curious, there's a huge map pool available. No idea what Zoop has planned. Maybe he has some secrets up his sleeve.
Yep. There could be some Mirkwood cheese. We saw some cheese on the Mirkwood map in our amateur bracket today. We saw Wiz picking Gaia on that map and walling off sections of the map with the forest.
It's already a lot of forest. You just wanted to close it fully off.
Yes.
Play the economic game.
Yeah, exactly. Is there an equivalent of Mirkwood on AoE 4?
There's Black Forest.
Black Forest.
So Mirkwood is similar to Black Forest. Except for that, the ladder maps in AoM are great. They're all very open maps. There's usually a lot of food. There's objectives to be taken on the map. You want to hunt. You want the town centers on the map. The gold is usually not very protected, and it's all about the gold. So in AoM, every single unit costs gold except for the villages. Yep. So if you lose access to gold, you've lost.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas in AoE 4, there's these trash units that cost only food and wood, and you can stay in your base and spam them. But in AoM, you really need this gold.
Yeah, and you need to be thinking about when my gold in my base runs out, where is my second gold?
Exactly.
And making plays for it, and your opponent needs to keep an eye on your gold as well.
Yes.
Make plays for it. Yeah, definitely.
It's very important to look at the gold.
There is one god called Thor. He has access in the Archaic Age to the gold mine god power, so he can actually spawn his own gold mine wherever he wants. And like the other god powers, it does get stronger in each age.
That is very nice.
Yeah, so that's useful.
In Age 4, he can survive for a long time without a gold mine by just recasting that god power over and over, which is this new system in Retold. It does cost more favor each time you cast it, but I don't think it's... So late game, you fight a lot, Norse get a lot of favor, so you can really keep running that gold mine. Yeah,
absolutely. You could do that, or you could choose to cast one of your other 3 god powers in the Mythic Age,
That's true,
right?
There's a lot of strong god powers. I don't think we've seen some H3 god powers yet. I'm excited. I hope we get to see some. They can destroy a lot of units the blink of an eye.
Yes.
And certainly create for some hype moments.
Because I think we were hearing before some AoE 4 players were saying, oh, AoM, you can swing the whole game with just one god power, a flood or a fire or something could just come roaring across the map.
Yeah, definitely the case. I think it's also part of the appeal of AoM.
Yeah, the chaos.
The chaos, yes. It's going to be pure chaos at times. Do we know some maps yet?
I'm hoping so.
Hoping, yeah. Now, what else is there different? Trying to think of some differences to AoE4 for our AoE4 viewers. So no stone. All the buildings cost wood or gold. So some civs, the Egyptians, maybe we'll see some Egyptians. Their specialty is that everything they build is either free, so houses are free, mining camps, etc. are free, and the military buildings and town centers, they cost gold. So the Egyptians rely even more heavily on that gold. So to kill an Egyptian, you really want to gold starve them.
Yeah, definitely. And the way the Egyptians gather their favor is by building monuments. So they have access to 5 monuments, and they can build one after the other. And once they have those monuments, it starts trickling in favor. They also have access to the pharaoh and the priests. The pharaoh can empower the monuments to increase the favor gather rate, or the pharaoh can empower drop sites or military buildings to empower that building or to empower the resource gather rate.
Yeah, so the pharaoh is similar to the Chinese imperial officials in AoE4, but you only have one pharaoh. So you really need to think about where you want to put him. Put him on your monuments, put him on your gold mine to have your gold last longer and get more gold. Maybe you want to empower some building that so it builds faster. So there's again these decisions to be made how to optimize your pharaoh.
Yes. And we can talk about the Greeks and the Atlanteans as well, and the Chinese, their favor.
Yeah,
gather.
so the Greeks, they simply sent villagers to pray at the temple.
Yes.
Very easy. You can decide how many villagers you want. Usually in the early game, you have maybe 1, sometimes even 0 after you get a 2 favor for your first hero, or second hero rather. Late game, I've seen people send 15, 20 villagers
Absolutely.
onto the favor. So the Greek can get the highest amount of favor if they want to force it.
Yeah, definitely.
But of course, that comes at the expense of not getting other resources.
Yes. And then for our Atlanteans, they now have, in the old legacy version of the game, the Atlanteans gathered favor just by building town centers on their settlement sockets. But in the new retold version of the game, the Atlanteans gather favor by sending their oracles out to scout. So the more line of sight their oracle unit has, which is a scouting unit, he doesn't really attack unless you heroize him, the more favor you gather. So you can make up to 10 oracles, and you can spread those oracles across the map to help you gather favor. But they're very vulnerable. So if your opponent finds you, kills your oracle, then you've lost that small amount of favor there, the gather rate.
So for everyone that's maybe frustrated with the Atlanteans spamming too many myth units, too many carnivoras, try and find those oracles, hunt them down. You won't get as much favor. You won't have as much trouble with these god powers and myth units. And that's a nice change, I think. So in the old game, you don't really build a TC. It's a huge investment just so you get more favor. So you just get favor by default, I suppose.
Yeah.
And now there's, again, a choice to be made. So you start with 3 oracles. You can go up to 10, but they cost something. You can build them from the temple. So you need to build them or not build them, depending if you want favor or not. And I think we are ready. So we do see one Atlantean player. So we see Gaia here. Rappel's playing Gaia. And we also do see a Chinese player.
Yeah, we see Su playing the Shenong here.
I'm excited about that one. We already see a first God Power caster. Shenong, rather both of them cast something. So Shenong cast a Peach Blossom Spring, which starts, I think, with 100 food, and then it slowly gathers more food over time until you decide to chop down the trees and gather from them.
Exactly. So, and you can also choose which resource you want to gather from it. So it says it's gathering 179 food at the moment, but you can actually toggle that so it says wood or gold. And then when you choose to start gathering that resource, you can keep toggling between the resources, and it gathers really fast as well. So you could say, okay, I'll quickly gather some food, and then I'll toggle it to gold and quickly gather some gold.
Just depending on what you want.
Yeah. But like you said, once you start gathering, it no longer keeps trickling up. So you need to decide, when do I start gathering from this tree?
And there we see the first Chinese balloon. So they have a scout. It's a hero scout that runs around, has rather low line of sight, but they can summon these balloons, or lanterns, I think they're called. Lanterns, yes.
Yeah.
That have a huge vision range, as you can see here. And you can really use them to scout. And the cool thing is, I also learned that during the week, you can upgrade these balloons and these scouts. So every age, there's an upgrade for these balloons. And in the 4th age, I don't know if we'll get there, but in the 4th age, these balloons, they will fall down onto the enemy army and actually deal some area damage.
Exactly.
I've yet to see that. I hope we'll get to see it.
But in the archaic age, the lanterns are only short-lived, but every upgrade you get increases their lifespan. And our Gaia player here, Rappel, Gaia, so he's one of the Atlantean civs, or she, and her Archaic Age God power is the Gaia Forest, and she gets 2 free casts of that, and that spawns a forest there, and there's increased gather rate
There
on
we
that
see the second
forest.
cast.
Yes. So there's
Nicely done on the 2 towers.
Yep.
So the forest will grow around the towers, basically protect the towers. You cannot be rushed that way. You can upgrade the towers, they will shoot. And yeah, it looks to be pretty safe. So he has safe food from the forest that he casts. He has a safe gold mine in the back of his base, and it's very boxed in. So I don't think we'll see some very early aggression coming out from Soup. And I think we should also speak about these big guys there.
Yes, the big giant economic units. That is the Kwafu. So the Kwafu, I was speaking about this one earlier, I think. This one costs, as well as normal resources, also costs favor. So the Chinese need to really sort of balance their economy to be able to train these units. But these units gather gold and wood at a much increased rate from a normal villager.
Yes, if I recall correctly, they're equivalent to 3 villages, 3 Greek villages. So they're really high-value targets to kill, but also high-value targets to protect. And how do the Chinese get a favor? Oh, okay. Look at some relics. So relics in AoM, also compared to AoE 4, are very different. So in AoE 4, they just give you flat gold. In AoM, they actually give you some bonus. So you can see here that there's a little bit of hack armor that your units get if you get this relic.
The armor of Achilles here increases the hack armor of infantry.
Yep. See what else we got.
Pygmalion statue increases the villager hit points, 40% villager hit
So
points.
that might be nice on these Kwafu to really keep them safe.
Okay.
All right. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
so
very
these
interesting.
terracotta riders, that's something that you can summon from your TC once. From every TC once that the Chinese have. And they're meant to defend, I believe.
Yes.
But we see them running cross-map.
Because you can see their hit points trickling down. They are meant to be for defenses, because you pop them out, you quickly fight an army, and then they die off. So he's going to get across the map and be pretty much dead already.
So I'm very curious what it's going to do with them.
Oh, wow.
So each Atlantean villager actually costs 2. So maybe I was wrong with no early aggression. He's really aggressive. Wow. So he just about got over to his enemy's town center on 20% HP, and then, well, they died.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. He almost got the pick off there. And the unfortunate thing is, Gaia has a healing unit. So she has the Caladria, that's the unit that's flying above there, and she's just going to heal back up those citizens there. So all that effort from Soup there was a bit in vain, unfortunately.
So the Caladria is one of my favorite units. In Retold, the way it was reworked, it's a really nice unit to micro. So it can, on a cooldown, it can slow enemy units. So it's great to pick off maybe some raiding cavalry that gets too close. It has another ability, which is a burst heal. So if you micro it well, you can really save a villager or a unit from dying. And then it just has the normal heal that can heal up all your army.
Alright, we do see the 2 Kwafu over here trying to take this town center, but our Rappel on the Gaia has cast the Carnivore here, which is it's a god power. It's stationary, but it has decent attack against buildings and units.
Yeah, so you do want a hero against that. If you have so with melee units, you don't really want to get close because these, what do you call them? These tentacles,
yeah,
maybe. Yeah. They will drag the unit in and kill it instantly. But if you have ranged units, they are far enough away from it. Okay, so he did get the TC up. It took a lot of damage. We'll see if he wants to repair it at some point. And we also do see how the Chinese get a favor. So this yellow glowing area is consecrated land. And the more consecrated land area the Chinese have, the more favor they get. So it's again a decision that you need to make. Do I want a compact base that's easy to defend? Or do I want to spread my base out, get more favor, but maybe be more vulnerable to attacks?
Yes, correct. And your town centers act as anchor points for this consecrated or favored land. So that's where the starting point is. If you go and build a granary somewhere randomly on the map, it's not going to be connected to that anchor point, and therefore it's not going to gather favor for you. It needs to have that yellow circle around it.
You also see some Terma raiding. So these units, they are mounted Javelineers, I suppose. The anti-archer units. They're quite fast. They deal a lot of damage against archer and rather low damage against everything else, but they're really annoying. So they really sort of keep Rappel in his base. Sorry, keep Soup in his base, and Soup wants to expand his base. He wants that favor.
Yes, yes, definitely.
Okay, we also see a second DC. We see that myth unit coming. It's gonna be really annoying.
Oh, he might get a pick off there. Ah,
Yeah.
no.
So we see a second Atlantean TC. So far, I think a pretty standard game from Atlanteans. Build some Terma, run around, apply pressure,
Yes.
expand. So you can see they don't do that much damage to villagers, but they will kill villagers. And I do have to say, these Chinese villagers are slightly weaker, I believe.
Okay. Are they? Is that in terms of armor or hit points?
Oh no, they're not. I think they're not weaker, but I think they're cheaper, but got a less fast. That was it.
Right.
Compared to, I think, the basic Greek villager.
Yeah, but then I guess the Kwafu makes up for
The
that.
Kwafu does make up for that, yes.
All right. So I will say you're saying the Terma are frustrating to deal with, but at the same time they are both a cavalry and an archer unit. So anything that benefits from the anti-cavalry or anti-archer stats is effective against the Terma as well. So we can see the Chinese player has made the javeliners here to deal with that, and they're also taking shots at the Caladria, which is nice.
Yeah, so that's a very interesting matchup. They're both anti-archer units, and they're both archers, so
Yes.
these fights are going to be very volatile. We also do see some of these Terma glowing. So that is how Atlanteans get heroes. They don't have special heroes. They just convert normal units into heroes. They can convert them for a small cost. And if they have enough favor and resources, they can turn their entire army into heroes and make myth units of the opponent very unusable.
Correct. But they still suffer from the bonus damage.
And there was some really nice micro just from Rappel. He
Yeah.
took one of the Terma, ran it in front of his others, back and forth. And the reason he's doing that is because units do not have 100% accuracy in AoM. So it's very different. In AoE 4, every single shot hits.
The ballistics.
They have... So AoE 4 has 100% ballistics.
Yep.
Everything hits once it leaves the unit. In AoM, you can dodge.
Yes.
And we just saw some really nice micro from Rappel. He was taking one unit to the front slightly, so it takes the shots and then moved it around. So it's moving, it's less likely to get hit.
Yeah, really nice micro there.
So another nice thing about the Chinese is they all have some passive bonus. And the one from Fuji, I believe, is that you... What is it again? That you have damage and villagers?
Yeah, yin and yang system.
Yin and yang system, yes. So first your villagers get a fast for 4 minutes, then your army gets strong for 4 minutes, and then it repeats.
Yes. And for Shenong though, it's the myth unit spawn.
Ah, true. Yes. So I said Fuji, this is Shenong. I'm still learning the game, like I
Is
said. My first AoM game was... AoM Chinese game was on Friday. And yeah, he gets 3 myth units. So over time he gets a myth unit from the next age. So if we wait long enough, we could see an age 3 myth unit in age 2. That's gonna be very exciting because these age 3 myth units, they're very beefy, they're very strong.
Alright, just heard that Rappel is aged up through Thea, so he's in the heroic age now. And he gets these special trees. So this god power is a tree he can cast, which he can train dryads from. So he gets 2 free dryads when he casts the tree, and then he can train additional dryads from it as well.
Yeah, and the cool thing about these dryads is they only cost wood. So they're a myth unit that costs only wood, no favor. And against human soldiers, they're very strong. So you can really keep spamming them so to force the enemy to always have heroes in his army. Even more so than you would normally need.
Right, looks like a bit of a raid here from Soup. But does he have any heroes to deal with all these myth units here, like the bird and the
Mostly has
dryads?
these... I think it's the spearman equivalent.
The halberdier.
Halberdiers, yes.
Yeah, so he's definitely going to need to make some heroes to deal with all these myth units. I do see at least one pioneer there because I saw the lantern.
Yeah, so every hero has a glow, an orange glow around it. That's how you can identify the heroes. Now is Soup anywhere close to H3? Let's see. So he has 800 food. He needs a little bit more gold. He needs to get up to 500 gold. Then he can also age up to H3. I'm excited to see what god he'll pick.
Yeah.
So you need to decide between 2 minor gods every age up, similar to a landmark in AoE 4. We see a fight. Again, it's all about that micro, the heroes onto the myth units, the normal units onto the heroes.
And we do see a God Power cast during that fight as well. That's the lightning weapons, which sort of shocks the units and holds them in place like that. So it does a little stun effect on the units it's attacking, any of his units there.
At the same time, we see another TC going up during that fight. It's a very nice play by Soup. But Rebel spotted it and put his Galadriel again on the TC. It's attacking the TC. That's why it's lost a lot of HP. It's very vulnerable at the moment.
Okay, he's aging up. Who is going through?
Let's see.
And we've got we can't.
Oh, we have the overlay from Soup there.
Don't know the icons yet.
I don't know the icons yet.
I think this actually might be Fuxi, the major god. I don't know my icons yet for Chinese. Someone to confirm for me. Maybe our observer could give us a thumbs up. Is it Fuxi?
There we go. So it's
Nuba.
Nuba. I've actually never seen her. So I've seen the other two. I've never seen Nuba. I know she has a drought as H3 God Power, which I do believe damages buildings, destroys farms.
Yeah, so what it does, it lowers the armor value of the buildings in the area you cast it. So then you go in with your siege or your strong infantry that have some good crush damage, and you do damage to the buildings, and it multiplies that damage.
And we do see a raid coming in there.
Yeah.
There was a lot of villagers running. Again, pressure on the gold mine here. It was all about the gold at this stage of the game. And one thing about the Chinese is they do not have a cavalry unit until H3. So the army is rather immobile compared to some other gods. I don't think that fight went as well for Soup as he wanted to go.
Nope. That was not
At the
great.
same time, he's losing villages here in the wood. Rappel's doing a really good job at applying pressure with just his few raiding units. He also has archers that have 20 range. Now 20 range, oh, this is the drought.
Yeah, that was just
A nice drought cast for us.
just so we could see it. I was going to say, what's the point of that?
So we got to see the drought cast.
Yeah, exactly.
So well
GG.
played by Rappel.
Yes.
He really stayed calm. That early pressure didn't...
And I think a lot of people in chat might have been expecting the Chinese win here, because the Chinese is the new Civ from the DLC, and at the moment people are claiming they're slightly overtuned.
That's the claims I've read.
Yes.
But Rappel showed us otherwise.
Yep.
And these two definitely are on a similar level.
Definitely.
I think the Chinese meta will certainly develop in the coming weeks.
Absolutely.
It's a lot to discover. So from idle villagers, again, very good players, not too much idle time. And it's all forced idle time. We saw a lot of villagers run from these raids. That's a huge spike you see there.
So we're looking at military resource value, yes.
We see the spike from these summon terracotta warriors at the beginning.
Oh, yes. Yep.
And then they both expanded. There was not a lot of army going on. And then at the end, we really see the economy from Gaia kicking in. And yeah, Rappel just outmassed Soup in the end.
Absolutely.
All right, so our players, Soup in this case, is picking another map. Let's see what he comes up with. Just had Savannah, I believe. It looked like Savannah to me. We'll see what we get this time.
Yeah. Must say, I'm new to casting at this situation where you don't have a computer in front of you, you don't have the observer in front of you.
You have no control.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very different experience.
But our observer is doing a very good job
of
showing us all
course.
the important things.
Of course.
All right, so we have talked about how everyone gets favor.
Yes.
We've talked about hero system.
Yes.
Talked about myth units.
Yes.
God powers?
God powers.
God powers. What is your favorite god power?
My favorite god power? I like Underworld.
Ah.
Yeah.
Can be sneaky with the underworld.
Yeah.
Just create a portal from your base to anywhere on the map.
Exactly.
The back of your enemy's base.
Yep, you can use it offensively, you can use it defensively, you can use it to get a resource. Maybe if
Yes.
you're gold starved, you can scout out a gold mine, cast your 2 portals, and slip through there. Yep.
Yeah.
And you?
My favorite god power. I think flaming weapons.
Flaming weapons.
Flaming weapons is very cool. I think it's one of the classic AoM god powers.
Uh-huh.
It's a Norse god power. You cast it on a map, and all your units for, I believe, 50 seconds will be plus 60% damage, get really strong, and your enemy cannot fight it. So you can push, cast flaming weapons, and just completely dominate a fight.
Yeah, I'm
That's
surprised
really
you
nice.
say that though, because you're an ISIS main, right?
Yeah, so I think I tend to play mostly Egyptians.
Yes.
Maybe my favorite god powers, Ancestor Eclipse,
Oh, of course.
but there would be two.
Yeah. But yeah, the flaming weapons is very scary as an Egyptian player. When you see the Norse army coming for you with that flaming weapons.
You want to run.
Yeah, it's
you cannot
terrifying.
stand.
It's
You have to run.
terrifying,
You
yes.
have to run. The entire Norse army comes at you, Jarls, throwing
Yeah,
X-Men,
yeah.
battle boars.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Very scary.
Yes. All right, we're into our next map. Is this Oasis? No, it's
Let's see.
It's
It is
Megalopolis.
Megalopolis. That's an interesting map. It has one additional town center in the middle.
Okay.
So instead of 3 town centers or settlements, there's for each player there's one extra neutral one in the middle. So in AoM, you increase population by building houses, but also by building town centers. And you can only build town centers on these unclaimed settlements. So the later the game goes, these become more and more important. So if you control more settlements than your opponent, you'll have a higher pop value, and that can swing the fight in your favor.
Yes, but in the retold version of this game, you can build your town center anywhere. Well, it's not a town center.
A town center,
It
village
becomes a
center.
village
yes.
center, yes. So slightly weaker, fewer hit points. It's not as strong, I guess, in most ways, but it can be built anywhere. So you do have that decision as well now.
But the important thing is it doesn't give you population.
Yeah, of course. Otherwise, you could
Yes.
just spam them everywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it does not give population, but you can if you want to have a very safe town center or village center. Okay, we see the relics.
Villagers return part of their cost when they die, so
I wouldn't go for that. If the villager dies, it's bad enough.
god powers recharge faster and cost less favor.
That is very nice.
Mhm.
Especially for the deconstruction for Kronos.
Walls regenerate hit points. That's meh, I
Okay,
think. Yeah.
Wouldn't want to prioritize getting that.
No. And infantry train faster, 25%
Nice to have.
faster.
It's
Yeah,
quite a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot, definitely.
So that's like I think it's close to the upgrade you can get by paying for it.
Yeah.
So if you capture that relic, you get an infantry training speed for free. That's kind of nice. So again, let's see what god we have. So we see here, this is Kronos, another Atlantean god. Kronos is a myth unit focused god.
Absolutely, yes. So when they age, we should mention as well, when you age up in Age of Mythology as any civ, you get 1 free myth unit from your temple. And in the Heroic Age and Mythic Age, you get 1 free myth unit from your dock as well. But Kronos gets 2 free myth units from their temple when they age up.
That is right. And we also see some very cool ability of Kronos here. So he can shift buildings across the map. So we see a very, very aggressive play here. So he shifts his temple close to his enemy's base. He ages up very fast. We see he almost is at that 400 foot mark. Now he's at 400 mark, immediately ages up to the next age.
Wow, very fast.
Very fast. And we see a rush coming exactly on that gold mine. He's trying to starve his opponent from gold. And if you don't have gold, you cannot build an army. So you're wondering why, maybe you're wondering why this villager's just chopping wood there without any drop-off building. That's a cool thing about the Atlanteans as well. They do not need drop-off buildings. They just send their villagers somewhere, gather, and they immediately deposit it into your bank. And nicely spreading that favored land here with the house just touching the edge of it.
It was our Chinese player who actually aged up first here.
was
Missed
very
that.
fast.
That was extremely fast. Wow.
And he already has got 2 heroes here waiting for those myth units to pop out.
Yep. This is going to be hard for Soup, I think. He might even need to shift his temple back to his base, I feel like.
No. I think it's too late to safely shift it back and get the myth units at home. Maybe he runs them away.
Yeah,
The good thing for him in this bad situation is that if they die, he gets some resources back.
it's true.
You also see a second myth unit out here
Oh,
for
wow.
our Chinese player.
I feel like Soup is doing a lot of things here. You can see on his face, he's looking everywhere on the screen here.
Yeah, that Kronos rush certainly didn't go as well as he had expected. Still chasing that hero here.
Did he make extra Promethean myth units there?
I would be surprised if he did.
Yeah, me
See,
too.
he still has 40 favor. I don't think
Okay.
he did. Even though they're quite cheap, he did not spend any favor. He saves favor. He did make an extra oracle. So we see there's 4, a little 4 next to this favor symbol on top. So he does have 4 oracles gathering. You start with 3, so he did spend 1. He did build 1 extra oracle. Really wants that favor. We also see the god power of Kronos. So he went up with Prometheus. And his god power is very cheap, and it's also very simple. It just converts a unit to a hero.
Yes, correct. But the conversion is instant, and it also heals the unit up to full.
Yep.
Whereas when you manually heroize a unit, it takes a few seconds, and it doesn't heal the unit.
Exactly, and it's very cheap. So the first cost is free, then it's 1 favor, 2 favor, 3 favor, etc. So he'll have a lot of heroes to defend against these units.
Yep.
I forgot the name of it, but you see the 2 myth units there on the left. They're
Yazi.
very scary. Yazi, yes, that's the name. They have a jump attack that deals damage. So they can jump on a villager. If you have 2 of them fully upgraded, they one-shot a villager.
Okay.
I don't know how much more HP the Atlanteans have, but a normal villager will die. The Atlantean villagers count for 2 villagers. So it's a little bit less of macro hassle for the Atlanteans,
Yes.
maybe.
Yes.
And they're also stronger. But losing them is way worse than losing a normal villager.
Absolutely. All right. So it looks like Hussupper is going to go Terma heavy. So we saw Termas played by Rappel in the last game against Soup's Chinese. So this is the reverse matchup.
Definitely. I think we want to see that mobility. It's the only cavalry unit that the Atlanteans have in this age. And if you want to be on the map, if you want to be out there. And that was a very nice play that we
Yes.
saw here. He used the god power, exactly like you said earlier, to heal up the villager, turn it into a hero, and save it, essentially.
Yep. And then
Good
he can
job.
turn around and fight the Yazis as well.
Yep.
All right, let's see how these Terma raids go. I think the Super's got a bit of work to catch up here. But he's making it work here.
We see these early skirmishes. Yazi still being annoying. However, he does have heroes. He does have a lot of heroes. Going Prometheus definitely was the correct choice here to counter these Yazi.
Could be a pick off there.
A nice dodge micro here. Shooting, then running, trying to dodge the arrows.
Oh, there might be a flank here from the Yahtzee. No, Soup's retreating those
Oh.
Terma there. Ah,
There he jumped on
the
with
Oracle.
Yes.
Yeah, dash was used on the Oracle. Okay, there's a hero Terma though.
So every myth unit also, that's I think a new thing in Retold. So some of them in the old AoM had some special abilities, but some of them now, or all of them have some special abilities now on a cooldown that you can toggle on or off. You can either decide to cast it manually or have it automatically on. And it really allows for a lot of interesting plays. You need to decide when to use your ability if you want.
Yeah, definitely. And it allows for some skill. Oh, is
no.
he trapped? Oh no, he's
Oh, no.
trapped. Soup shouldn't go back though, because then it allows him to jump out again.
Yes.
Oh, he's a hero, so he could fight it, right? Oh.
I'm not sure if you can only cast it on units. So he should only send his heroes there, I think.
Yeah, you don't want him to jump out. This is the perfect
Yeah,
opportunity
it's
for
perfect
Soup.
for him.
Wow.
There's the jump, but they're sort
But
of
he's still
trapped.
trapped.
One of them down. Let's see if the second one goes down.
It's very low hit points, isn't it? Yeah. Circle
Splitting
around.
his armor nicely
Yep,
to
yep.
cut him off.
Exactly. Very nice. Path blocking, perhaps.
There we go.
Nice.
That's one headache less for him.
Soup will, I mean, Rapples, I think, is going to be quite mad about that. But there's a huge raid here as well.
So he found 4 citizens, which each are as strong as 2 normal villagers.
Yep.
Certainly don't want to lose those.
Oh no. Ouch. He can only garrison 2 citizens at a time into this manor,
correct.
this house here.
Did-
Oh, he's lost 2.
Did some nice Garrison micro, waiting for his army to arrive. So with losing 2, he's down 4 villagers. So on top, the 34 for the Atlantean players actually counts the villagers as 2. And again, some fight. Anti-archer against anti-archer.
But
Sniping the heroes nicely.
yeah.
And
for
again,
the
another
Yahtzee.
Yazi.
Yep. Yep. You want to pick off the hero so the Yahtzee can come in and do heaps of damage.
He does have Valor available. He could heal and cast another, or heroize another unit.
He's got so much favor. He should be making way more heroes, I feel, at this point. 85 favor. And he's still got those 2 citizens trapped in that manor, that house.
Yeah, he wouldn't let go of those, huh?
Yeah, but now they're idle as well, which is unfortunate. That's essentially 4 villagers idle for this amount of time.
That's the pullback. Now we do see a second town center here. So Rappel, I'm not sure if he knows that Soup doesn't have a second one. I think he scouted very well. He probably does. Rappel knows that he is ahead soon. So he's expanding nicely, getting that favorite land. We can see here how he connects it all up.
Yep.
Really wants that favor. He wants to build more Kwafu, who cost a lot of favor.
All right, a Yahtzee dash. I think he targeted the wrong citizen there. Or if he'd
Nice
only
save by
targeted the low hit point one, wow. Yeah, but good save by Soup, good reaction
Now we
time.
also see Rappel is going to the H3.
Okay.
So we just spent 800
Gomang.
Gongmang. Now, what does he do? I don't know the names yet. A lot of the stuff to learn. So we just saw a jump,
Yes.
not on a unit, but on a place on the map.
Oh, okay. It wasn't on the citizen then.
It wasn't on a citizen, no.
Okay.
So you can save your stuck units even if there's
Yes.
no enemies around.
True, very true.
Good to
Okay.
know. And we also see our Cronus players to H3. So he has the traitor god power, immediately steals a myth unit.
Which one?
Oh, a Kwafu!
Oh,
A Kwafu rather.
clever. Very
Okay.
clever.
So he stole the Kwafu. That's 3 villagers down for Rappel, essentially. And the traitor also is very cheap to recast.
Yeah, 15 favor, and he's got, 3 casts worth of it,
And a
really.
big bank, yeah.
Yeah.
Now moving out to the second gold mine. At this stage of the game, it's really all about controlling that gold again. You have to move out. You can survive on making just wood units. You don't necessarily need a lot of food. So there's units that cost only wood and gold, but you do need that gold.
He's sneaking that Kwafu back. I can't believe he got away with that.
Yeah. I do wonder if you can heroize that Kwafu.
That's a good point. As
So-
a Lantian. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, big
Oh,
raid
no.
here. Oh no, Soup. Losing 2
Again,
citizens,
these
I
Yazi
think.
jumping in,
Yep.
killing 2 villagers.
Yeah, wow. It's such a pain. I feel like all he needs here is a wall chip, like a couple of walls, or even put a manor there, like to block off that wood line. And that could be really effective in stopping these raids.
Right.
Yep, 2 dashes away.
Does manage to pick one off.
Yeah, it looks
Maybe
like Rappel's
both
not
of them.
focusing. Rappel's elsewhere, I
Is he
guess.
markering somewhere else? There's
Yep.
a lot of stuff to mark. I'm sure he's not as fluent with the Chinese yet as with all the other gods.
Yeah, true.
Maybe we can look at the god power that Rappel has now in H3. So there we see the forest protection. Now you cast that on a building, and I learned it yesterday. Soup told me all about it. So you cast it on a building, and in a large area around that building, your enemy doesn't want to stay, essentially.
Yes, they
If he
get,
stays there, they get rooted, they take damage, it's bad.
bad times, bad times. So very defensive god power in that regard.
Speaking of defenses, Rappel is rushing up a keep. These Kwafu also build very fast, so you do want to build your stuff with them. And we see the mid unit from the Chinese faction. So he got this really slowly walking mid unit that does have a charge, deals a lot of damage, but it's very slow.
And
Then we
from-
see 2 behemoths.
Yes, from our Kronos player, he got the double myth units from his age up, and there's the behemoth. There's the god power, the forest protection. So you can see it's got that ground around it, the visual.
And the deconstruction. So deconstruction of Cronus can send any unit back home, any building back home from your opponent. You use it on the castle. It's a very good play.
It refunds the cost of the building, but you no longer have that building.
Yep. Have to build it all over.
Oh, he's getting trapped in that forest, isn't he?
Yeah, we see the power of the forest, also a
Yep.
huge area. We saw the charge of that slow unit. He did 1 or 2 attacks. Now he's slow again.
Got some kiting going on here, so Soup trying to kite these archers, get a shot off, and then retreat, get a shot off, then retreat, all the way back to his base.
There's also ballistics in H3, so your archers will hit more. I think it's the most important upgrade in the game, probably.
Yeah.
Nothing worse than your archers not hitting.
Yeah, it's very frustrating, isn't it? All that wasted DPS. Oh, he's
Now we see. Oh, he stole that myth unit. It's very good
nice.
play.
Look at that.
Charges around, spreads the army out.
Yep.
The archers come in to pick off the single units.
So the hero there from the Chinese player actually stuns the opponent's myth unit and also duplicates it for 8 seconds. So we saw that the myth unit that Sook stole was then stunned by the Sage unit here from the Chinese.
So they're fighting all over the same myth unit.
Yeah.
So now we see Chinese cavalry. I heard these are really strong. And you can only build them from keeps, and keeps come in H3.
Yes, correct.
I think it's not good, looking very good for our Atlantean player.
Indeed. I see him.
Getting up from his chair. I think the writing's on the wall for this game.
I think so. Spoilers, everyone.
Yeah. But I think at this point it's not really spoilers anymore, is it?
No, I think it's really clear.
Yeah.
Well,
So
GG.
well played by Rappo.
Yeah. Really great series from both of them. So that was a best of 5. It was a 3-0 for Rappel there.
Yeah, so it's nice. So we got shown the Atlanteans, we got shown the Chinese, and the Norse.
Yes. Yeah, it was a good showcase of the civilizations as well. Good showcase of myth units and god powers.
Yes, definitely. Did it too chatting.
Okay, I think they're going to get their awards. So this was the finals of this series. The finals of the whole bracket, sorry. So Rappel has placed first, Hussupper second. And guess who was third?
Oh, it was me.
It was you.
It was good fun.
Yep. Maybe you have to go on stage and get your medal.
Do I get a medal?
Do?
Wow.